Hello everyone, I'm Anne-Marie, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do some work with embossing paste. It's the first time I've used this product from Stampin' Up. Nice and sealed there with a foil lid. It is quite sticky. I'm not going to lie, I did make a bit of a mess, which is why I cut that bit out. As the paste can dry out quite quickly, it's ideal to leave the lid on when you're not using the product. So I'm going to take a piece of shimmer white cardstock, and I've got a selection, got my daubers out there, and a selection of inks. I am using Mint Macaron, Blushing Bride, Highland Heather and So Saffron. So I'm going to do two techniques with this paste. I have got my silicone mat there, which I'm going to use to mix the inks and the embossing powder together. I'm taking one of these masks. You get 4 in a packet. I've just laid it on top of my cardstock. I'm going to tape it in place. That way I know it won't move once I start applying the paste. So now the mask is secured tightly in place, I'm going to get these palette knives. You get a pack of 3 from Stampin' Up. So nice small detailed ones, larger ones, and then this fine point one. I'm going to use the bigger one, I think, first. Put a few drops of the different coloured ink onto the silicone mat. Use 4 different colours. The idea is I'm going to blend them together. And then I'm going to add the embossing paste to the ink, mix them up, and hopefully I should get nice pale colours from this. So just applying the coloured embossing powder onto the top of the stencil fairly thinly. Doing the two So Saffron here in 2 different places, and then I'm going to mix up all the other colours and spread them across the stencil as well. So now I'm going to carefully take off the low tack tape and remove this mask. As it's the first time I've done this, I don't quite know what to expect, but I'm really quite excited. So carefully peel it off. And that looks good. There's a few bits on the edges where I've gone over the outside of the mask, but actually for a first time, not so bad. So now I'm going to take some ink, use Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to colour the background and apply white embossing paste over the top. Embossing paste, you can get 2 types. You can either get a matte finish, or you can buy the shimmery white, which is matte finished with a subtle sparkle. So you're just laying the ink down evenly with the brayer. So I'm going to take this sort of tree patterned mask. I'm going for like a wintry Christmas theme here. Again, I'm going to stick it down so it doesn't slip around and smudge the image. With the embossing paste, I'm taking the larger palette knife and I'm just going to spread it across the whole of my card. As I said, it's best to keep a lid on when you're not using this product, so I also keep it in a little baggie. And that way there's no chance of, if I haven't put the lid on properly, of air getting into it. So now time for the grand reveal. What I quite like is that the white embossing paste is not that thick on this card, so it's nice and subtle, and I think it comes through really, really well. So now I'm going to take this panel and make it into a card. I've got some Night of Navy as my base, So the sentiment I've chosen is Peace, Joy and Love, and that is from the Dove of Hope stamp set. And I'm going to ink it up, and I'm probably going to use Misty Moonlight for this. This is one of my favourite colours at the moment. And I'm just using a scrap of Whisper White that I have in my little scrap bag lying around. So clean off the ink from the stamp there. Loving my new little chamois. I've chopped it down and put it in a little box, makes life a lot easier. Also from the Dove of Hope set, I've cut out this little dove. I stamped it in smoky slate and then added some Wink of Stella to it, which just coloured it in nicely and just almost made the ink run a little bit to give a sort of blended look. Now taking a little bit of Night of Navy just as a backing to my sentiment, and then I'm going to put the card together. So I've added the small dove on there and the sentiment, and it just looked like it needed a little something. So I decided to add some pearl basic jewels. They're in a nice sort of creamy colour. I think they just set the rest of the card off nicely. So for the second design, I used basic black cardstock as my card base, as I thought it complemented the subtle colours that I'd used in the embossing paste. The stamp set is called Last a Lifetime, and I took the sentiment Sending You All My Love. Here I'm using the grid paper to line the sentiment up on my block, and I stamp it in the Tuxedo black ink from Memento. I wanted to add a little bit of ribbon to this card, and I do love this bumblebee in colour, so I thought I'd use that. I'm going to apply a little bit of two-sided tape to the back of the card, and this will hold my ribbon in place when I turn it around and try and tie a bow. To hold the ribbon in place on the front of the card, I've taken some glue dots and just rolled them between my fingers just to keep it in position and make it easier for me to tie a bow. I have had to cut quite a bit out of this video as I realise how awful I am at tying bows on camera, and it probably took me about 8 minutes to tie this bow, so there's going to be a quick edit and we'll be moving straight on to the bow being completed. So that's the bow finally finished. I'm just going to put some dimensionals onto my sentiment, and then I will glue the panel to the base card using liquid Tombow glue, as it has a little bit of wiggle room. There will be another schoolgirl error here. Always check storage when on your phone when making a video. this suddenly cuts short and I will just go to a picture of the 2 cards that I made. If you like the content, please subscribe, tick the bell and you'll be notified when I make more videos. Really appreciate having your time, and I hope you like the card. Give embossing paste a try. It actually is really, really good fun.